Hey there, Mike Canals back again for part 6. I'm making the case for healthcare facilities pathway. Part 6 really covers the idea that a pathway cultivates advanced skill sets. In the associates program, over 2,000 hours spent in that program, mostly work and learn. Again, it's very accelerated. We put a lot of things together. A lot of it surrounding around the CHFM, definitely some business acumen, a little bit there. Definitely some acumen about public speaking and some other technologies. There's some math, there's some science, there's a lot of writing that goes on. So it's a good, strong foundation. And my folks coming from the program have done an excellent job. And then they continue to grow. But there are these skill sets that really need to happen in advanced education. I want to cover those here in a minute. But before I do that, I want to just talk briefly again about this webinar coming up here on March 16th, 11:30 a.m. Central Time. The 9th year program update for the HFF program. I hope you can try to make it or forward this on to somebody else and they can make it to this session. But let's get going with some of these elements. So the first one is facility condition index and facility condition assessment. The power of what we know about the building, so many times we turn this information over to architects, engineers, and consultants to give us this information, and then we need to sort of absorb it and do something with it, which doesn't always happen. But we have that information. We organize the information. We find the information and feed it to them. We do most of the work per se, other than crunching the data and giving the reports and stuff like that. Today, this programs can do that. If you can feed that information, it can generate that information, and we can do that. But often we just don't have time, and it's just a difficult challenge for us to get to that skill set as well. Another one is healthcare property management. We are just entering into, only just now, what is the beginning of the big surge of outpatient building construction and the delivery service, right? We have another 10 years before we peak with those folks retiring into healthcare. We're going to see this peak last for the next 20 or 30 years. And healthcare property management is becoming a big issue because all the codes, compliance, and regulations have shifted to that environment. And we have all these buildings out there, but we really don't have the people maintaining those buildings that understand how healthcare property management works. And even us as facility managers, we can help assess a building. Maybe we're going to put something in a mall. Maybe we're going to put something in an office building. Maybe we've acquired something, right? We need to go there and assess it for these additional codes and regulations, because those buildings often, when they were built or when they were being used previously, did not take into account where we are today. Very important. Another one is going to be sustainability and energy management. Don't need to say a lot about this one, but this is a big subject for all of us, and it's going to be for quite some time to come. Some folks have been working on this for quite a while, but the vast majority, I would say, out there are even still in their infancy in really addressing this issue in our healthcare facilities. Another one is going to be reliability-centered maintenance. Have you heard about alternate equipment maintenance by now, AEM? And really, that really leads to the conversation about RCM, okay? It's about doing the right maintenance at the right time for the right reasons, for a lot of different reasons, to increase productivity, so you don't have to do sort of that soul-killing, brain-dead work of manufacturer inspections, which take a lot of time and energy for not a lot of bang for the buck, if you will. But this is a very important subject for our industry, and it takes some skill and some training and some knowledge and some foundation to put this in place, amongst a bunch of other things. Another one is going to be project management, advanced project management. We all do little projects all the time in healthcare facilities, maybe sometimes too much, honestly. However, the more information we can provide to the architects and engineers for the bigger projects, in fact, in some cases, we're doing a lot of heavy lifting, okay, to prepare others to take that information to put that project together. But this is an area we can all improve in as well. And then you have advanced computerized maintenance management. This is so central. And we've had CMMS systems, computerized maintenance management systems, obviously for a long, long time. And they are way underused. And if you're ever going to get to real RCM, right, real reliable standard maintenance, you better have a super solid fundamental knowledge of your computerized maintenance management system. The entry control process, the disposition process, the walk down for all the pieces and parts and assemblies of that equipment and what's going on in the building, so then you can start breaking it down for RCM. Some people think just because they have a ultrasonic probe or some kind of a temperature sensor for electrical and stuff like that, they're doing, AEM or RCM. They're really not. You're just using a tool within the system. There's a lot to be learned here, and we're at the infancy of this subject in our industry. Another one is going to be a strong business acumen. We manage a massive budget when it comes to energy and projects and maintenance operations and parts and pieces. It's a big budget. If we're not managing it well, that money's not going to the bottom line. And we can certainly do better, especially when it comes to even productivity and when it comes to really understanding our work, right? So this is another thing, strong skill set we need to have. So many times, people that come in as directors or executive directors or even vice president stuff, they come in because they have this business acumen. If we had that business acumen coming out of management, we would be moving up to those jobs, and I think it would be even better and make a stronger and healthier organization. Another one is emergency management. This has continued to be a big subject for quite some time, but the emphasis on it just keeps growing, and it's constant and it's persistent. And facilities is just so central to almost every emergency management outcome. But our knowledge and we are more reactionary still to this day on this subject, and there's a lot to be learned in this area. Another one is going to be master facility planning, which goes an awful lot with FCI and FCA. This is just another area we need to provide our leaders, our executives, the best quality information they can so they can make decisions for the long term. Most of us know that administrators are not there. They turn over fairly quickly. A master facility plan sort of helps to keep things smooth regardless of that leader that comes in and out of the organization. And it's such a critical document, but unfortunately, we're not as involved as we need to be in healthcare facilities. Another one is commissioning or retro-commissioning. Again, it kind of goes with some of these others, facility condition index, facility condition assessment. But this is really about keeping that system operating at design or going back and getting it back to design. This happens, again, it's a whole nother language, if you will, that we have to learn. And it's another skill set that we can definitely be an asset for the organization with, and especially during projects. Quality management systems like ISO 41001 2018, this is a brand new international standard specifically for facility management. Quality management systems are something that we should be focusing on. And in simplest terms, a quality management system is you putting systems and processes and practice and policy procedures and training in place so that something happens to you, it keeps humming, if you will, and it's something you can build on, right? Very important to have a systemic approach to maintenance and operations. Another one is going to be, I'm going to back up a second. That was the last one, but here's part of the issue. In order to do this, the challenge we have is that it's almost like asking people to change a wheel on a car while it's driving. This is why we struggle in these areas. We have so many things going on. We've already talked about so many things that we do in facilities management. But when we come in with these great ideals like sustainability and AEM and facility condition index and assessments and commissioning or retro commissioning, we have to contract it out because we're just running around like, being so busy. And so when we come in with these new ideas, okay, when they come in from the administrator or from the industry, it's like changing a wheel on a car. We just can't stop to do it. And it's so difficult to do. And while it's possible, it takes a lot to make it happen. And this picture is kind of an example of making it happen. Another kind of picture I talk about often time, it's like asking us to swab a deck, during a hurricane or during a storm. It just feels impossible. We have so much going on. We're juggling things. We're spinning plates. Everyone's our customer. Nobody really knows all that we do. Nobody really knows all that we're responsible for. But at the exact same time, they'll come to us with these things they want us to kind of jam in there somehow. And we really do. And between us, be honest, we go, I don't know how I'm going to work this in. And it just adds to the frustration and the stress of the job. And sometimes it ends careers. And that's unfortunate because these are really good folks working in healthcare facilities, but I think the expectations just aren't really lined up the way they need to be, nor is the education and training. It's a beautiful pathway. It's a tough pathway. It is challenging. And I think that's why a lot of us are here. We love the challenge. We love to learn. We love doing good and doing better. But at the same time, we don't necessarily have the foundation to take on these advanced skill sets. And that's really my premise for this justification for the pathway. So bachelor's and master's, this is really what it's about. You spend over 2,000 hours in the associates, you're going to spend another 2,000 hours in the bachelor's and, a few more hundreds of hours in the master's degree. In those subjects that we just talked about, while I dabble and touch on several of them in the associates program, there needs to be a deep dive. And that deep dive will come in the bachelor's and master's. And the fact that this would be a work and learn type program will just take and put all that education on steroids, is my opinion. Yes, it might take a little bit longer because you're going to go to school part-time. But I'm telling you what, by the time you're done, especially if you start early, you will have a foundation like none other ever in history. Never in history. And that's really my goal. Let's raise the tide. Let's create a pathway. Let's commit to it. So those of you who are hearing this message, I hope you'll be willing to join me in making this happen. Love to see it happen in my lifetime. Chances are it won't, but I'd love to see it in my lifetime. Well, that's part 6 of making a justification for a healthcare facilities pathway. One more to go. Just one more to go. Maybe the most controversial one. But hey, what's a little disruption and controversy, right, to create change? Thanks again. I know this was a long one. Appreciate it.